Welcome to day 4 of the High Income Health Expert Challenge. Wow, it's been a blast these last 4 days. We're on day 4 out of 5. And I don't know about you, but have you noticed that it seems like each day has been getting better than the last, and each one has just been new insights, new lessons, and just seeing a bigger picture coming together. It's so clarifying because truly a confused mind is a paralyzed mind. But when we get clarity on our mission and our message and the methods that we can follow, wow, it really empowers us to be able to take action, right? So today it's going to be no different. We're going to be talking about a very important topic, where specifically how to make big money with a small audience online. Contrary to popular belief, a lot of people think in order to really monetize online, you need a large audience to make a large income. But that's not really the case. In fact, that's more of the old way of thinking. I mean, I remember investing in programs back in like 2018. It's teach you how to turn your content into a career. And one thing that I found is that there's a lot of broken business advice in the marketplace today. And a lot of people will tell you the first thing you have to do is you have to build an audience. And you have to create a hungry crowd of people online who's engaged and maybe subscribers or followers to your page or whatever it is. And then once you have an audience, then go sell a product to them, go sell a program. But the problem with that is building an audience may take 6 months, a year, or even further. And there's still not a guarantee that you're actually going to develop the community to the size that people are talking about you requiring. And another issue is if you're building an audience for all this time and you're not selling anything, or you don't talk about a business, you don't make an offer, then when you automatically one day decide to introduce, and I've seen it happen with big influencers, now they have this audience and then they introduce like a $5 ebook and their audience is, oh, they're sold out, they've changed and now they're just trying to take our money, and then they have a big issue with it. Whereas like there's a lot of challenges. We don't want to wait 6 months to a year before you start getting your first clients. We want to be able to do that sooner rather than later, because like building an audience is a very slow way to build a business. So the new way to build a business, which working in 2025 and will in 2026 and beyond, is you first start by building a business. You build a business first, meaning that you create an offer. You get really clear on what is that premium mentorship program that you want to deliver to people. And with that offer, you're able to create content or an audience around similar problems or challenges, and you're adding value or solving problems, providing clarity around related issues to your offer. And then the community that you build, you're already establishing yourself as a health professional. Not just like a medical missionary that screams you're going to be like a volunteer that goes overseas and vaccinates children in third world countries, but you're a health consultant or a health professional. You're someone who does this, and you're providing some of your experience and knowledge to people. And then when you have an offer, then you're able to start making offers and making sales sooner rather than later. And in fact, one of the ways that allows you to do this is by leveraging other people's audiences. Just like I mentioned in business, anything that you lack in resources, you can always make up and leverage. You can leverage other people's audiences, other people's platforms. This is a thing that really opened my eyes in my early 20s when I was first starting my health education business, is that there are already audiences right now online who have your dream clients. If you're going to be helping people to reverse type 2 diabetes, there's podcasts, there's platforms, there's YouTube channels that have hundreds of thousands of people with type 2 diabetes or obesity or challenges related, that those platform hosts, they have an audience, they don't have an offer. And many times, many health influencers are broke. They have no idea how to monetize the attention that they have, because that's where a lot of advice that's online, they're teaching you how to grow vanity metrics, like how to go viral and how to get likes and shares and engagements and comments. And while many of those metrics may build your ego, they don't necessarily build your bank account. And they may feed your pride, but they don't feed your family. And because those vanity metrics do not directly relate to your bottom line. In fact, just because someone has 100,000 followers doesn't mean they're making $100,000 in their health education business. And likewise, if they have 1 million followers, doesn't mean they're making $1 million. There's one thing I've found often is that many health influencers who learn how to influence people's attention doesn't necessarily translate to influencing people's buying decisions. So you can actually make big money with a small audience online, one, by learning how to leverage other people's audiences, or two, learning how to speak in a way that helps people make an informed decision, and it calls people to an action, shifting their behaviors. Very different than what a lot of these content gurus are going to teach you to start publishing online. And when you do this correctly, then you're able to speak on other people's platforms, and then you're able to borrow their audience. This is how I've been able to speak on YouTube channels that have over 200,000 subscribers. But me, like if I go on YouTube, I'm not gonna have that many people live, but the moment I'm sharing on other people's platforms, I might have 8,000 viewers. Same thing with podcasts. I've been able to speak on podcasts with over 142,000 listeners and downloads monthly, and that's just something that is not something I have on my platform. In fact, following these strategies that I'm sharing with you is how our health education company was able to make over $500,000 having no email list, a very small social media following, and hardly anyone knows who I am online. So these principles, when you start with a business first and then you leverage other people's audiences, there's really no limits to what you can do and who you can serve. And in fact, you could, if you really wanted to, you could start booking speaking engagements next week to start sharing on other people's audiences. So this is why I want to talk about the speaker's advantage. This is a framework that I call a speaker's advantage because I believe that health professionals who speak have a strategic advantage over health professionals who do not speak. If they're not creating content, they're not speaking offline at events, then there's a big difference. So if you want to know the speaker's advantage, I'd say there's 7 of them, and it spells the word speaker. So just remember speaker and you'll be able to remember what they are. The first advantage that health professionals have who speak is that they have what I call a special advantage. And what do I mean by that? A lot of times health educators will come to me and they'll say, look, Enoch, there's already a lot of health professionals out there solving different problems, maybe in weight loss, maybe there's a lot of parasite cleanses, maybe there's a lot of trainers who teach about reversing diabetes. How do I stand out in a crowded market? Why are people going to pay me instead of other people? And the reality is that when you are a speaker, a health professional who speaks is going to be able to stand out far more than health professionals who are not speaking. They don't have an online presence. When people search, they don't come up, and they're just relying on word of mouth or local areas. In fact, this is what was happening with Dr. Kendra Lee when she was, before coming to the challenge, she started here, just like you. She came to the challenge and she was struggling to keep her doors open in her business. And she asked, and I asked her, well, what's going to happen if you don't figure out the marketing stuff? And she's like, I'm going to have to close down my doors because the amount of money that I'm spending is not the amount of money that I'm making in this health business. And I got this lifestyle center and I don't want this thing to fall down. I don't want it to go away. This is my baby. This is my mission. This is my love. And I want to be able to continue doing this. And so what we did is she ended up joining our accelerator program, and we helped her to create a system for generating leads and sales to automate some of these with the Lighthouse content, knowing what things to say and an offer that people are willing to pay. And now she has more clients coming in when she wants to do one of her 30-day programs. She wants to do like a live in-person workshop. Then she's able to fill those programs, and we doubled the prices there. It's about $500 per person, and she doesn't have a problem filling those out with the demands. Where before she had a really hard time filling that, and through that process too, she's able to. She got on one of the challenges, and she's like, look, with the way that our business is going and how it's been growing, we're now able to provide a Christian education for my granddaughter, which I think is something really special when you go from a place of like, I'm having a hard time just paying for my life or my own like business, keeping myself alive, to being able to, when you have more abundance, you're started thinking, well, how can I give to causes I care about? How can I provide for others? And I think it's really special when service-oriented leaders have more resources, they could start giving to other people as well. And what we did is we we helped her to leverage other people's platforms and shared with her to use other people's audiences. And here's an example. She was featured in her local news articles were written about her, radios, and also YouTube channels. And she became a local authority in her island where people know her as, oh, she's the juicing lady. Who here wants to become an authority in your space and your topic? And that when people think of your topic, they think of you. Yes. So that is why you have what I call a special advantage. So speaking allows you to stand out from the health professionals who are not speaking, not publishing consistently, or they might know it, but they're not doing it. And that's why you're going to have a special advantage that other people who won't be able to tap into. The P in speaking advantage is pricing advantage, because when you speak, there's a few things that it does. Number one, speaking allows you to attract higher quality leads. We talked about this a little in the VIP, is that an educated buyer is far more valuable than a non-educated buyer. Someone who doesn't know you from Adam, but maybe they gave a referral, and they call you up and they got all these questions. What makes you different? Why are you here? Why should I pay you? How much do you cost? Why do you cost that much? And they don't know anything about you. Versus, imagine if someone heard you speak, they listened to your message, they resonated with your stories, they saw themselves in the stories of the people that you mentioned in your talk, they understand an overview, a preview of your program, and they're already educated of even the price that it costs to work with you. And then those are the people that reach out and speak with you. So when they're speaking to you, it's a much better quality. There's not as many objections, concerns. They're like, I'm ready to work. I'm ready to even invite other people to work with you before I've even joined. And it's like, I want to be able to do this together. Much higher quality leads when you're a speaker and when you speak in a specific way that informs people to make informed decisions versus non-speakers who are just relying on word of mouth or referrals or don't really have a marketing strategy and plan in place. And the second benefit of pricing advantage is you attract more affluent buyers, because it tends to be people, like for instance, if you're being interviewed on podcasts, it has been shown again and again that those who listen to podcasts tend to be more affluent. They're more likely to be six-figure earners in their profession or in their business or something, because the people who listen to podcasts tend to be those who really value self-development, they value self-education and personal development. They tend to just earn more in life because they're doing more and they're optimizing the pockets of their time. So when you are speaking and getting booked on podcasts, you're attracting more affluent buyers. Or if you're invited to speak at a conference, people pay to attend these events, and these events have budgets of tens of thousands of dollars to pay for health speakers just like you, that they have budgeted, they have to spend these tens of thousands of dollars on the speakers, and they're looking for speakers like you, just like you're looking for conferences or events to speak at. And they have an audience of people who've already paid to learn about health education. And this is one thing I've learned, is that premium buyers are premium buyers. If they're willing to pay for education, they're willing to pay for your education, your mentorship, your courses, or your events, whatever it is. And even like being able to speak on members' areas or courses. There's already coaches out there who have paying clients. There's courses, health educators who have thousands of clients, and you're able to form a strategic partnership with them. And let's say they're a weight loss program and you teach people how to eliminate like parasites out of their system. You could be the parasite expert in this membership site, and you're going to do your signature speech, your training on parasites, and then you've just added the value of this members area, and they added value to you because they gave you access to people you didn't have, and you're not direct competitors. You are indirectly speaking about similar things to the same person but solving slightly different problems. That's why specializing opens up so many doors for you to be able to speak to paid audiences or speaking at retreats. And by doing that, people who've already paid for one thing, they're more likely to pay for your thing as well. And so they not only attract more affluent buyers, but the pricing advantage of speakers is that you get to command higher speaking fees as well. So by speaking, by sharing your ideas, whether it's offline or online, people are willing to pay more for your speaking. In fact, I have a client, Regine. She creates content online. She decided she's going to pull out her phone and she's going to learn what it takes to create content that can make a difference in people's lives. And then she got an email from someone while she's in my program. She was talking to me. She said, one thing I really like about your program is you're teaching people about public speaking and you're teaching people about premium mentorship programs. And those are two things that God's really been working on my heart to understand more. Like, she's more comfortable talking online, but speaking in person to live audiences, that's something that feels kind of scary. So navigate our clients often on how to handle the stage presence and the performance and how to present on stage. And she was invited to speak at this women's health retreat, which is a lot of her ideal clients. She helps mothers flatten their mommy tummies so they no longer look pregnant when they're not, or fix leaking after they've had children. And so she's speaking at this women's events, and she's like, what do I do? I've never been invited to speak like this. How do I do it? And I shared with her exactly what to say, how to respond, gave her some guidance of this is a portion that you want to have you want to talk on the phone about this conversation. Don't do it through email. And this is how you handle it. She followed the advice, and the event organizer was just like blown away by her professionalism. And she was able to land a $7,500 speaking gig for a 45-minute speech. And she's never made $7,500 from a single transaction. And before that, we helped her have her first $6,000 a day from her selling 2 clients in a day. And that was exciting. But now the thing about if you have content online, people are willing to pay more for you to speak at their event. If you have been seen speaking at different events, then they're also willing to pay more for that. A lot of pricing is perception. A lot of pricing it has less to do about your professional knowledge. It has less to do with how much years you have, the experience you have. It has more to do with your packaging of your knowledge, the perception of your brand, the value that you can bring to the event organizer. By speaking, this automatically increases the perceived value that you have to share, because the society has placed on a podium or a pedestal, so to speak, but have placed a high value in speakers. Just by learning how to speak, people will have more trust, more credibility. They feel there's more legitimacy of your programs. So how many of you would like to have a pricing advantage? Type pricing in the chat below. That's one thing that we get to have as a speaker. And then the E in the speaker's advantage is the word is expert advantage. Now, I'll ask you, are you a speaker because you're an expert, or are you an expert because you speak? I would submit to you that it's a little bit of both, because the very act of being on stage, people will automatically believe or assume that you have a level of credibility and expertise. And a lot of times, because event organizers have their network and their marketing methods that they can fill a room, a lot of them don't really have an offer, so they depend on speakers like you to make offers to their audience or to even bring some people there. So by the trust that the audience has with either the podcast host or the event organizer, having you to speak as a specialist on the plant-based diet, on weight loss, on the parasites, or on reversing diabetes, by you being scheduled to speak as a specialist at the event for that topic, you're already seen as being an expert of that. I remember I was picked up, I got booked to speak over in Texas, and I had an Uber driver. He's like, "Why are you here?" It's like, "Oh, I'm speaking at an event." And he's just like, "What do you teach?" And I teach health educators how to monetize their knowledge online. He was so excited. He's like, "This is something I've wanted to do." And the fact, he even put it in words, the fact that you got flown out here to go speak at events that people are paying to come listen, it already tells me you have a lot of knowledge about this to share. And he bought a copy of my book, and he was so excited about that. And the selling is so much easier when you're seen as having a credible source or knowledge of that people would want to listen to you. That's one of the advantages that speakers have. There's many different ways about building credibility, and that's something when I'm working with health educators, we help you to go through a credibility creator exercise where we identify and extract the different parts of your life of how you can seize and extract those areas of your experience that you've already had that are able to build credibility. And there's others that you could understand and put on the roadmap to now it's your job to go create those testimonials or get those stories or be featured on different news articles. But whatever the case is, many of you already have established credibility in an area. It's just a matter of knowing how to put it together. And as a speaker, that is one of the fastest ways to be able to build your credibility profile. Who here wants to have an expert advantage? Type expert in the chat below so that, and because you realize that people are willing to pay experts to solve challenges. And so that's the E in speaker. The A stands for the audience advantage. Audience advantage is so powerful because as a speaker, like I mentioned in the beginning, you're not limited to your own audience. The very nature of often speaking, you're speaking on other people's audiences. You're leveraging established brands. Someone else had already paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to put together their brand over a course of 10, 20, 30 years, building a reputation with your ideal clients. Someone else has already poured in the years, the dedication, the learning curve, the team, and the resources to put this audience together. And by you being able to be featured on their audience, you already have this credibility. You get access to an audience that you otherwise wouldn't have before. And not only that, you also, what's cool about speaking is that you're never really selling to a cold audience. When I say cold, what do I mean by that? Cold are complete strangers. They don't know who you are. They don't know your mission. They don't know your name, your face. They're not familiar with you at all. Selling to a cold audience is way harder, requires far more skill. It is a lot more difficult to sell to a cold audience than it is to sell to a warm audience. So like I'm talking about like Facebook ads are cold audiences. Going door to door is cold. They call it cold calling when you're talking to a stranger, you're just going down a list. Like it is so much more harder to sell to strangers than it is to sell to people who already know, like, and trust you. And why are you, as a speaker, you're always only selling to a warm audience? Because if you're on a podcast, what people do is they'll introduce you as the authority, as an expert, as a credible source, and they'll share why you're the guest expert on their show. And because their audience already trusts the host of the podcast, when they introduce you, they're lending the trust and the reputation relationship over to you. So the audience is not starting from scratch. They're starting with like a borrowed trust or a borrowed kind of connection, which now it's up to you to have a good signature speech that you're going to actually share a message and deliver on that and maintain that or even exceed that expectation. And when you're speaking at events, the same thing. You're borrowing the credibility and the relationship with that audience. So when you're speaking, you have a strategic advantage. You have an audience advantage over health professionals who do not speak. And they have to start from scratch with every person that they interact with. So how many of you want to have an audience advantage as a speaker? Type audience in the chat below. You can experience that. And not only is there an audience advantage, there's also a knowledge advantage. And this is one that I really appreciate because as a speaker, we talked about on day one, I believe, it was about this Lighthouse content. God gives us health knowledge, not for us to hoard to ourselves or to keep among ourselves. It is for us to bless others. God gives so that we can share. So you have a knowledge advantage because, like, how many of you know that there's only so much you could really learn and apply and do until you get to a point where you're like, I gotta go tell it to the world. I want to share this. It's so exciting. It's been beneficial to my life. It's wonderful. God has put in us this desire to not only learn about how our bodies work, but even to express that. That's a calling. That's a mission. And when you have this knowledge, if that knowledge is not being imparted, that knowledge starts turning to like a heavy weight, a guilt, if you will, of responsibility. I believe it's like a call to contribution. And you have a knowledge advantage because as a speaker, you're able to share your knowledge at any time. You can go live, you can share on these podcasts, you can share on these speaking, you're able to consistently have systems whereby you're able to share this knowledge with other people. And I learned as a teenager that I was learning so much, and God convicted me. He's like, Enoch, you are being a spiritual glutton. You are learning too much, eating too much of this little book and not working off your spiritual calories and working for others and sharing with others what I've been sharing with you. And I was like, Lord, forgive me. And that's kind of what started transitioning me to start teaching other people. And at first I didn't necessarily teach because I had all this great knowledge. Like literally my first cooking class, I was just doing a health seminar. And as I was doing the health seminar and sharing about like the health benefits and challenges with different foods, people, these mothers, they came to me. I was 19 years old and I was on a speaking tour in California going from place to place. And these mothers, they came to me and they're like, what do you eat? And I told them all these things that I eat and I can enjoy. And they're like, well, do you know how to cook? I said, yeah, I know how to cook. And they're like, can you teach us? And I was 19 and just like, yeah, I could teach you some things. I'm like, have I ever done a cooking class? No. But I could share what little I knew. I could share a few principles. And if they're coming to me asking for help, I probably know a little bit more than they do. And what I learned is that if you know fourth grade math, you could teach third graders how to do third grade math. So I shared with them. They had a lot of children. It was a Spanish-speaking bilingual church. So they had all these little children. I had them kind of prepare the veggies and stuff, and we made this dough from scratch, and we put together a meal, involved the children, educated the parents, and they were so happy about it. A few months later, they took a photo of the recipes that I shared, and they were still doing it. And I came home and I realized cooking classes is something that is important to share with people. But my point is, during that series, like they had me speaking for 2 weeks, and then I'd go over here and speak for 3 weeks, and some of those talks that I shared, I spoke for like an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, and if you would have asked me to speak another half an hour, I literally couldn't do it. I didn't have more knowledge to share. I could only just share what I knew. And I told them, I'm like, look, I know I'm young. I know you guys are excited about what I'm sharing. You're like, how does he know so much? I'm not here because I know a lot of stuff. I'm here because I want to learn. And I learned that the best way to learn is to teach. And so by sharing with you what I know, I'm learning more. Jesus said it's more blessed to give than receive. So as health educators, we have a knowledge advantage. And another thing that this knowledge advantage gives you is speaking forces you to organize your thoughts. It forces you to be able to express your ideas more clearly. And this is so valuable because health professionals who do not speak regularly, they tend to soar far above the heads and the ears of their clients. They use a lot of medical jargon and techno babble that just leaves the people confused and overwhelmed. They're not really educated further empowered to take action or to change their life. They're just dump all this knowledge on them and they feel overwhelmed. And an overwhelmed buyer never buys. So one thing that I learned from a leadership podcast, it was Andy Stanley who shared this, and it really stood out to me in my early 20s. He said, whoever can speak about a problem with the most clarity is seen as the leader who has the single solution to the problem. He's saying, even if you don't have the best solution, even if you're not the most experienced person on the block, whoever can speak with the most clarity on it, who's more organized and structured in how they express their ideas, they are willing to, people will perceive them as being the solution to their problem. And that is what a signature speech allows you to do. It allows you to organize your thoughts where you have a speech that people are able to hear and understand and recognize, wow, this person knows what they're talking about. This is exactly what I've been looking for. You're speaking my language. And here's the thing, when you can clearly express their problem in terms that is even better than they could express their problem, people are going to believe that you have the solution. They're going to buy, because people do not buy products and programs. People buy solutions to problems. But if you have like a level 10 skill set of, let's say, reversing diabetes or losing weight, or you know how to heal, you have a level 10 skill, you can have the best kind of knowledge out there. But if you have a level 4 in communication of those skills, you will only be seen, that will be the lid. Your audience and prospects will only see you as far as your ability to communicate your value and what you do. So really, communication becomes the lid of what we're able to, of our conversions. And when we upgrade our communication, we upgrade our business. We upgrade the impact that we're able to have in the world, and learning how to communicate in a way that people will gladly pay. So how many of you want to have a knowledge advantage that speaking is able to provide? Type knowledge in the chat if you can see how organizing your thoughts in a signature speech is something that could be extremely, very profitable. And honestly, a lot of the things that I'm sharing with you, they're not very popular, but they are very profitable. When you're able to apply these things, a lot of people don't talk about it. And I believe part of the reason why many people don't talk, there's a lot of successful health educators who know some of these things, but they don't teach it. One is because either they might be applying it, but they don't really realize why it's working, so they can't, or two, they're afraid for you to know. They don't want you to know because if you do, some educators feel like it's this competition that they just want to apply these things at work, and others they're just teaching health stuff. And by sharing health, there isn't their mission or effort or to educate other health educators. So the reason why some of these things, like, they've worked for years and people have been applying them to succeed as health educators, but we don't really hear a lot of it because that's just not really what people are doing. And what I like to do, why I'm so passionate about this topic, is because I believe you have a message that could literally save people's lives. And in my experience, after doing health seminars, cooking classes, and lectures for years, and realizing the more that I learned about how to solve and resolve different challenges that people face, the more I realized to really succeed in any particular field, I gotta really focus and hone in on who I'm serving and how I'm helping them. And even though I might have solutions that can help people with diabetes, autoimmune disease, and cancer, and all these things, I don't necessarily have the resources to really make them a great success in all those areas. But if we're able to work together, and I find it so valuable that I could work with a client who's helping with autoimmune disease, and because of the knowledge we gave her about her signature speech and her offer, she's able to communicate to a mother who's gone to all these different doctors and is not getting better, is getting worse. But finally that mother pays our client $3,000, goes through her program, and then her 8-year-old little boy is able to recover and find health and hope for the first time in their journey. And to know that we have a part to play in that, that's something so special. Like, you can't really put a price on that. But I find that together we can do so much more than we ever could apart. So it's very rewarding to be able to train the trainers, equip the educators who are helping others. Because I feel like our team can kind of vicariously, through your businesses, as you guys succeed, we're able to together reach those people that we all desire to reach. But I find that specializing allows us to be able to do the parts that we do best. You know what I'm saying? And this makes a very big difference, which also leads to the efficient advantage, which is the E in the speaker's advantage. Speaking is more efficient. And what I mean by that is, what speaking allows us to do is to disconnect our income generation from our time. It allows us to be able to connect with people at scale, to convert those connections to paying clients, and even communicate while you sleep. So that when you have videos, when you have interviews, YouTube collaborations, podcasts, when you have content that's out there, courses that are in place, you could be living your life and you're still impacting people and you're helping them. And it shifts you from doing a one-on-one sales and allows you to step into the one of many, which on day 2 of the challenge, I gave you some examples of, like, Russell Brunson, who was able to make a higher leverage amount. He made $3.2 million in 90 minutes because of the one-to-many approach, which it would have taken him 6.5 years if he was doing one-on-one consultations for all of that. But let's face it, we really are not going to spend 40 hours a week doing one-on-one consultations. And even if we had that many people calling us, which some people do, that we don't have the capacity to do it. So we end up leaving them behind to suffer in silence or go somewhere else or find something else. Or we try to take it, and I've done this, I've been guilty of this. I try to take on as many calls as I can, fit it in my lunch or my breaks, and I'm trying to call and try to fit in as much as I can. But at the end of the day, after being 8 hours on the phone back to back, I realize there's still far more people who need the attention and help, and there's not enough of me to go around. So it's really like out of necessity trying to figure these things out. But I find that not all businesses are created equally. And speakers have an advantage, because one thing that Dave MacArthur, one of my first millionaire mentors, he shared with me is that a lot of business models fundamentally are limited in the way they're structured. When you're making $100,000 a year, you've got 100,000 responsibilities. When you're making $1 million a year, you've got 1 million responsibilities. You think you own a business, but really the business owns you. And a lot of times why people go into business is because they want freedom. Like in one word, we want the freedom to be able to choose our schedule, choose the people we serve, to be able to express the ideas that we have. I just had a church member who was telling me he was a chaplain at a prison, and then when COVID hit, they were saying you can't pray for anybody, they have to ask you, and they put all these restrictions of what he's going to do, and they were going to pay him like far more money than before, but he's just like, forget about it. I'm going to come in as a volunteer, because as a volunteer I have less restrictions. But it's the same thing with health educators. When you are under an umbrella of something else, or you're working in a company, then you're really stuck. You don't have the freedom of expression of your ideas, methodologies, your teachings, and the freedom to create a life and a schedule that you love. And it's interesting because a lot of people, they go from working a 40-hour job and they're like, I want to build my own business and be free, be my own boss, and they end up working 80 hours in their business. And it's just like, that didn't really work. And part of the reason is because the business model that we're doing, or the way that we've currently structured our offer, doesn't allow us to be able to scale or handle. We might be able to get clients, but we've got ourselves golden handcuffs. Hey, it's gold, but it's still very limiting on what we can do. So one of the things that we want to do as a health educator is learn to disconnect your income generation from your time. Anytime that you have restricted your income to your time, you've now limited your income generation to the scarcest resource that you possibly have. So we need to step away from that mentality. And one of the ways that you can cut the link is by stop looking at you are selling your time for money, and start looking at you're getting paid for results. You're not getting paid for your time, you're getting paid for your results. At the end of the day, it's a transformation that people are after. And if someone could get the transformation in less time than it would take, it's actually more valuable. Speed is something that people value more than like an hour a day with you for the next 6 months. If I could help you to get a result with, say, 1 hour a week, you would much rather pay for that than you would if I said, let's speak for 2 hours every day for the next 6 months. I mean, you might like listening from me, but you don't like spending time with me that much. But by being able to simplify it, then that's what people are willing to pay more of a premium for. So it's not time that people pay for, it's the result, it's a speed, it's a simplicity, it's eliminating it's simplifying the complex concepts. Who here wants to have an efficient advantage? That you could see an advantage of speaking as being more efficient. Type efficient in the chat below if that's the type of advantage you like. Now, we could see in the final advantage that we have as a speaker is what I like to call a real life advantage. This is the R, and you could take a screenshot of this if you'd like, if you want to remember it. But a real life advantage, what I mean by that is what's really powerful in marketing is you want to learn to stay top of mind. So you want your brand, your message, your mission, your story to just be in people's thoughts as they go throughout the day. The more that they're thinking about your message, as a speaker, you get to be top of mind. You have these little reminders throughout their life and day that they're thinking of you and your service, your solution, the value you're adding, the impact you're having in their life. And also in this world that is very digital, where there's a lot of emails and a lot of stuff is going online, there's a lot of videos, there's people getting bombarded by videos all over. As a speaker, you become a physical reminder in a digital world. You're able to meet your community for the first time, and you're able to connect with people, and they have a deeper relationship with you as a speaker than if you're just only doing things online. And one of my favorite things that I get to do is actually meet the people that I've interacted with for years. And when I go speak somewhere, people can come out and they meet, and it's so rewarding to be able to see their lives where they're like, you shared something 5 years ago I never forgot, and I just think about it every time. And it's encouraging. So we get to make a real life difference, and we have a real life advantage. Who wants to have a real life advantage as a speaker, as a health professional? Type yes in the chat. And that's really the speaker's advantage that you get, and it's one of the most rewarding thing I've ever experienced. Now, when we see that speaking is the way to go, speaking is something that is super powerful, impactful, there's habits of highly effective speakers. In fact, what I want to share now is I want to share the number one habit of highly effective speakers. In fact, Stephen Covey wrote a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and it became best-selling. He sold over 25 million copies, which is the top percentage of books ever written. And for good reason. I've read the book. It is very powerful and insightful. He gives 7 habits that are based on biblical principles, and it has been used to teach in different colleges throughout the years. But one of the habits that he says, Stephen Covey says, highly effective people begin with the end in mind. Where Enoch Leffingwell says, highly effective speakers begin with the back end in mind. Now, what do I mean by the back end? Whenever you're speaking, we talked about this a decent amount in the VIP session today, but whenever you're speaking, you want to think about what is the back end offer that you're going to make? What is the end goal? What is that value ladder that you're ascending people towards? Instead of just talking about anything and everything you're passionate about speaking about, talk about subjects that people are passionate about paying for, and that help to increase the perceived value of your back end offer. And so today I promised that I would share with you 12 ways to profit from a signature speech without charging speaker fees. Speaker fees can be powerful and they can be rewarding, but one of the most profitable ways to actually monetize as a speaker is not the speaker fees. It is learning how to present with the back end in mind. So are you ready to profit from a signature speech? Type yes if you're ready for these ways to do that. And how you are able to profit from a signature speech is really what I like to call this wheel of wealth. You want to think of your business like it's a wheel. Like you have spokes, you have a hub and you have spokes in this wheel. And if you want your business to be spinning, to be moving forward, making progress in momentum, then we want to look at our business like a wheel. And the very foundation, in the center of this wheel, you have your signature speech. And in this signature speech, this is when you have that identified, it really opens the doors for many other things to work better. For example, when you speak from stage, one thing I will just warn you right now, by speaking, it will increase people's desire for you to coach them through the principles that you're teaching. So rather than just like reacting to it, let's be proactive and let's begin with that in mind. Let's create a coaching program or a health mentorship program so that when you speak, your presentation is like a preview of your program. And in a conversation that I had with Pedro Adao is someone who has been teaching business he teaches based on the Bible, and it's a really unique way that he does it. Each one of those awards on there, the gold ones you get for making $1 million on a single website. The one on his knee is what you get when you make $10 million on the back of one website. So I had the opportunity to have a backstage pass at Funnel Hacking Live with some of the speakers there. And as I was speaking to Pedro Adao, we were talking about how business is really structured, and he shared something that really stood out to me. He talked about how a speech increases the desire for accountability through coaching. And even your course, when people buy your course, that increases the desire that people want. They go through it, they're sold on the methodology, they really like this, they're like, this makes a lot of sense, and they want to follow it. Some people take action, they go through it. Others are like, I can do this, but I could do it so much faster with a coach. So they'll want to ascend to work with you in your coaching as well. But when we're aware that through speaking, it's going to open up doors for your coaching, it's good to begin with that back end in mind and just intentionally structure that. In your wheel of wealth, your signature speech is one of the most powerful and most effective ways to sell premium value, premium mentorship programs. And then also that opens the door for consultation calls. People listen and they're like, I want to get on the phone with you. I want to consult with you. I like your methods. I like your teachings. I know that you're a trusted advisor. And it opens those doors where a lot of health educators, the way they do consultation calls are not trained to convert. In fact, the way that we learn in health schools or certifications or degrees or the trainings that we go through, a lot of those consultation calls about your medical history, your symptoms, or the backgrounds that you've had, and a lot of these questions, while they're great to get information about their disease, their condition, and how to heal that, it's not optimized for selling. I was coaching a client of ours who I was sharing that a lot of times when I first started in consultation, I would just give them everything that I knew on that topic and they get overwhelmed. And but then at the end of that consultation, they don't buy. And I've been having conversation after conversation, people before working with us, they're like, I'll get on consultation, go through an analysis, it takes a lot of time. Then I got more homework. It's not even just a time on the call. Then I got homework to go analyze their results, give them feedback, make a recommendation. And at the end, they might buy some supplements that have like a $5 profit margin. So maybe I made like 15 bucks for all that work. It's like, this isn't sustainable. Something needs to change. So again, it's like when you are on a consultation call and you're just feeding them with a fire hose, telling them all that stuff, then it doesn't, without selling them, it doesn't actually convert. It's not helpful for them and it's not as helpful for you as well. So instead, we want to be really strategic about what you say on the call. Like Dr. Razia, we helped her. She was struggling to get one-on-one clients for $400. And in her $400 offer, it was not sustainable. She was like going to people's homes, bringing in saunas, and she was bringing in all this equipment. And she's like, I know I can't do this when there's more clients, but depending on how you do it, some people are like, I don't want more clients. I can only handle 5 or I can only handle 2. And it feels stressful. But what we did is we helped her to restructure her offer so it could be more scalable. And we helped her to automate her system for booking consultations and craft we gave her a script that's been responsible for selling over $100 million in coaching sales. It's not like a script that I came up with. It's not my clients who made $100 million, but some of the mentors and the trainings where I've got it from, this script has been very effective for being able to sell 5-figure deals and 4-figure deals over the phone. And we walked her through that and she was able to get her first $3,000 client within her first 10 days of joining our accelerated program. And a lot of it has to do with knowing what to say when you're on the call so that they're already prepared and ready to take that next step. So how many of you would like to get paid a premium price for your health advice? Type paid in the chat if you start seeing that consultations the right way can be really, really helpful when we shift the way that we share it. So also with the signature speech, by this time, basically what we like to start with is create the coaching program. Let's start selling that, enrolling people into your program. And through that program, you'll do a mixture of speaking and consultation calls to sign people up. And then what's nice is as you find your program is effective, it's enrolling, people are buying, that means you have a message and market match, that there's the right people attracting, coming, and they're raising their hand and they're working with you. Then we want to move to publish a book, which you can actually turn your signature speech into a best-selling book. And by being able to do that, that expands and it really launches your influence, your messaging into a farther market, where if you start with a book first, sometimes your message is fuzzy, your offer is fuzzy, there's just a lot of missing details you have. So I don't usually recommend starting with that. I would start with a signature speech, test and tweak and refine that. Once you have something that's really solid, turn that signature speech into a book. And this is exactly what Kaylin Poland did. Kaylin Poland, in her 20s, started this weight loss company for women. She's a newbie female health coach starting out with zero tech experience. She had no product, and she launched her business in the weight loss industry, which, by the way, I mean, there's a lot of competition going on there. And she changed the lives of over 1.3 million women in less than 3 years with her weight loss company. And here she is on stage getting a $10 million award. But the thing about this too is it shows you, she did this just like within the last, like in 2020 to 2010s and 20s, somewhere around there. She's a little bit older than me. And she made a huge difference. And one of the ways that she started with the signature speech, using the similar principles I teach our students. We both learned it from Russell Brunson. She created signature speech. She shared that speech at live webinars. She did auto webinars, which I've actually joined her trainings and see what she does. It's the same structure that we're teaching our students. She does seminars that are boot camps that she's taught. And then she's taken that signature speech, that message, and put it into a health book. And she published this book called Big Fat Lies. And she's talking about the lies that the weight loss industry wants you to believe. And as she's going through those similar principles in her signature speech, she also used that to launch to #1 bestseller on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, and she launched her best-selling book to scale her business. And the thing about this is so powerful is when you have that signature speech, it's really not about changing the audience. You don't change the message, you change the audience. So it's not about tweaking the message, the stories, and all these things. It's not a lot of that. It's more about changing the audience so it always feels new to the audience, because it is. They've never heard it before. But that gives you the freedom to get really good at the skills that you have, the stories you're sharing, and it gets you a lot of clarity. And even that repetition, it deepens the impression. It builds familiarity in your brand, and it really clarifies how you're able to express. And in fact, this is something that we helped Shantoya to do, because her husband has been teaching health for over 12 years. And not only did we help them to raise their prices, where they sold more than ever before at the following event, but she came to me after listening to these trainings, and she's like, I have a book, I do consultations, we have some course programs that we've tried doing, but she's learning about this wheel of wealth that I'm teaching right now, and she's like, we don't really have them connected to each other, and our book isn't really selling, it's just sitting on the shelf. She's like, this is, and it's not really like an asset the way you're describing for the business, so do I have to start from scratch in doing this? And I told her that usually we could look at the book that you have and notice what are the few tweaks that will lead to the biggest peaks. It's not really about doing all of these things and you have to do it all at once. And when I'm sharing with you this Wheel of Wealth, you don't need all this at the beginning. It's really about identifying what are the things that are the minimum effective dose. What is the shortest path to cash? What is the shortest path to accelerate your journey to be able to impact people's lives? And that's what we did with her. I audited her book, we got her reestablished, and then she became a best-selling author in holistic health education. And she published The Detox Solution. She helped professional women over 40 to lose weight through detox juicing. And so she was able to turn her signature speech into a book. How many of you would like to get paid for readers to learn your signature speech in a book? Type book in the chat if you have that desire to publish books, because this is where things get really fun and exciting as people are able to go through. So back to this Wheel of Wealth, you have the signature speech at the foundation, and now you've turned this into a book. You are also able to turn this into a course. You take the principles in your book, you take the principles in your speech, you elaborate them in your course. Usually what I like to recommend is that when you're doing a group coaching program, record it. Take the recordings of your group coaching program that people pay you a premium for, and let them know this coaching program will be a course. So for those who get in first are going to get some of the best access, but those who come in after you, they're going to have a course and it's going to be automated self-service. So it's even reasons to be the first ones in your coaching program. And once you have that course that you're able to walk people through, that's when people start paying for it. And that's what Kaylin Pullen was able to do with her weight loss company. She created online courses. She created challenges, like a 30-day slim challenge. She did a 5-day cake challenge, and she turned them into ebooks. And in all these digital products, guess how much money that Kaylin was able to make through this? She made $25 million just selling digital products, having no prior experience in this business. But by following these principles that we're talking about, she created her Wheel of Wealth. And I remember listening, I listened to her in person, and one thing she was saying, she's like, look, a lot of you think you're in the book business. A lot of you think you're in the physical products business. You're in the course business, but you're not. You're in, and she didn't call it a Wheel of Wealth, but she's like, when you're able to do all of these together, strategically, they all create an ecosystem that is able to build in a much, much better way than isolated. And that just clicked. It made so much sense. How many of you would like to share your health message digitally? And you can see the power of digital products. Type yes in the chat below. And this is what Kaylin Pullen was able to do. And for a signature speech, not only can you sell courses and digital products, you can also sell physical products. So if you are someone who has supplements, or maybe you have tinctures or ointments, or maybe you've partnered with a company and you would like to allow them to manufacture and ship, but you just educate, then a signature speech allows you to do that. And where she's helping people with weight loss, so in her speech in her book, what's the next logical thing that she's trying to figure out? Well, what about their nutrition? What about where they can get their protein shakes? That now she started providing those. She started providing some protein bars, some vitamins, supplements, and she has even fitness equipment. And as people are going to be interested in different things, if you're going to be teaching about cooking, then maybe kitchen equipment. There's a man, Joe Cross, who made the documentary Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, which is all about his journey of detoxing. And he's documented his journey of drinking plants for 60 days. Now, at the end of this, people are going to be fully sold on juicing. What do people need to have or buy if they're going to start this juicing journey? Well, they need a juicer, right? So he partnered with a company as an affiliate, and he sends through his link digitally, he sends people to go buy. And when they buy through his link, then he gets paid from that. And he's made millions of dollars as an affiliate just sharing juicers without him having to start manufacture or house them in his garage or keep inventory and storage or handle shipping and customer service, all that stuff. He's sharing recipes, he's sharing his health journey, he's sharing the science behind it and interviewing experts and learning and documenting his journey. And he's able to make a generous living by recommending other people's physical equipment, which is really cool. There's also, she was able to sell swag and merch and clothing and fitness gear for these mothers, these women who were losing weight. And how much, and she shares how much she was able to make from these physical products, or what I say, spoke in her Wheel of Wealth. She made over $150 million just from the physical products alone. Now, question, if Kaylin Pullen is able to make $150 million from physical products, how much money do you think you could make in your health education business? I mean, just like when you really let that settle in, there are people out there who are making a profound difference in people's lives, and they're sharing, and they have half the experience, half of the life knowledge, but they've made the decision. And what I find is so powerful about this is on the internet, there's equal opportunities. There are no longer publishers that are gating whether you can succeed or not. Anyone can make a decision. I see there's grandmothers on TikTok who are building followings as being like a grandmotherly advisor, and they just decide, I'm gonna publish, I'm gonna share my message, I'm gonna make a difference today. And it's changed their life and the lives of others as well. So your signature speech can help you to sell physical products. If you have supplements that you want to recommend, if you have creams, if you have different things, then you could do that as well. And also, your signature speech, when you create it once, that covers all of your content. That covers your content for the year. And all your Lighthouse content becomes simplified. It's easier. You just repeat and enlarge on some of those concepts. And we see that's what Kaylin Pullen was able to do. She took those concepts, put them on social media, and her content has over 1 billion views on social media of women that she's been able to reach. It's landed her speaking engagements on YouTube, podcasts, seminars, news, local news media, international media. And this is how the Wheel of Wealth works. And basically, I had a mentor, Myron Golden, he was telling me, he's like, look, don't just stand there, sell something. And your Wheel of Wealth becomes this. He's like, don't just sell something that sells something. Because this is what your Wheel of Wealth is doing, is you have your signature speech. You don't just like show up, you want to sell your speech so you can speak. And then in your signature speech, don't just sell something that sells something. Your signature speech is able to sell your coaching program. And then to join your coaching program, you have a consultation, see if you're a good fit. And then from your signature speech, you can sell books, but even from your books, they're able to sell your coaching program. You have your course that people are able to buy and invest in your courses if they want to work at that level and self-service as they go in the pockets of their time. And as they go through their course, they learn about your book, they learn about your coaching, and then you're able to prescribe the physical products that you have. And the content is able to introduce people to your events or your coaching or consultation. So this wheel of wealth becomes like this momentum building thing where it's kind of like this snowball effect where you have each part of your business is intentionally bringing business back to you through service, through helping, and through introducing just other ways that people are able to be supported and guided through this process. And you start building up so much momentum that you couldn't slow it down even if you wanted to. And that comes in terms of like leads and sales and people who are being served and happy, satisfied customers at different levels of access, different levels of capacity. And hopefully you can start to see how you're able to leverage. How many of you are starting to see the vision for your business? How many of you can start seeing that, like how these pieces can come together? So are you who's excited to change the world with your health message? Like we see what's possible, and it's something that's so exciting. So is it okay if I share with you, take a few minutes to explain what it could look like as you've been going through this challenge? Many of you have been gaining momentum. You've been getting insights that you haven't had before, clarity that's really connecting the dots, and you've wanted to extend the learning environment. So can I take a few moments to explain what that would look like? Is yes, show of hands, is that okay? Okay, cool. Great. So then what I've done is I've put together it's one offer, but there's two levels of support. The first is what I call Skills Unlimited program. And the Skills Unlimited program is very much like a do-it-yourself program where this provides you the training, the education, and you at your own pace is able to go through it. And the Business Accelerator program is more of a done with you, and some of it is done for you in providing you templates and trainings and helping you to clarify how to implement a lot of the concepts we've been talking about here. So this is where you work with me and my team, where we're able to think, like, a lot of times we're like, if I were to sell your offer, what stories would I share? Based on what we get to learn about you and understand about your offer, then how does that fit in the context of your business? So those are two kind of paths, if you will. They both have the same destination. It's just different levels of support. And so the Skills Unlimited program, for instance, the reason why I call it Skills Unlimited is because there are a handful of high-income skills that can each pay $10,000 a month. And skills such as like selling. Selling is a high-income skill. Copywriting, it's the persuasive words that influence. Public speaking is one of the highest paid professions in the marketplace. Digital marketing is learning how to use the internet to reach your ideal clients. There's no limit to what you can do. And AI automation is extremely powerful. Having these automated systems, and even coaching. Having a coaching program is, like we mentioned, a premium vehicle for sharing your knowledge. And any of these skills, just one of them can make $10,000 a month. But when you start stacking them, you start tapping into unlimited income, unlimited influence, unlimited impact. There's no limit to who you can serve and what you could reach by understanding these skills, which is why we called it Skills Unlimited, because it's helping to lift the limits. That often happens when we're trading time for money. And if you were to look at Skills Unlimited, think of it, it's kind of like a Netflix subscription, where you know how Netflix allows you to pay a monthly subscription and then you get access to different videos, shows, series that you could tune in as you want. Well, instead of filling your mind with trash, Skills Unlimited allows you to fill your mind with cash. It's like Netflix, but for health marketing. And in this Skills Unlimited, you have training for crowd and camera confidence, to how to confidently create content online. We have offer creation secrets that shows you exactly how to put together a irresistible premium offer. We have best-selling authors bootcamp that's showing you how to become best-selling authors. We've got signature speech secrets that's showing you step by step, slide by slide, exactly what to put in your signature speech, what things to leave out, and we guide you through the process so you're not guessing at anything. We're basically taking you by the hand and leading you to the financial promised land. That's our goal, is to give you access to that. So in Skills Unlimited, it's do it yourself. You have access to the tools, and this is how we can guide you through. And the accelerator is you're working more with us, and we're telling you exactly where to go and what are the steps. And so you might be asking, who is the Business Accelerator program for? The Accelerator program is for you if you are a health enthusiast, you really like health, and you want to monetize your knowledge, you want to turn this passion into a profitable path that you can follow, then the program is going to really help you. If you have a health method or a program developed, or you have a package or a program, or you want help with creating your own program, this is going to help you to create that irresistible offer we've been talking about. If you're a health consultant, if you're a health coach, or if you want to become one, then this program is designed for you. If you're a health speaker, you already speak, or maybe want to speak more, or you want to understand what the speaking looks like in 2026 and what are the opportunities to apply modern marketing methods today to your speeches and speaking, whenever you open up your mouth, then this is what we're going to go in detail for. If you're a health practitioner, you want to grow your health practice, or you have a dream or desire in the future to open a practice, the foundational skills are going to help you to do that. And really, anyone who has a health message that you want to get to the masses, this is what the Accelerator program is designed to help you to do. So what you're going to get in this offer, Skills Unlimited program costs $19.97 a year. That's what the cost is. So that's a $1997 value. In the Accelerator, you get that when you pay for the $2,000, you get, but that's not all there is. You get more, because what I want to do is I want to think, okay, how can I make your life easier? How can I eliminate the hassle, make it just the bare necessities that you would need to be able to succeed in the shortest time possible? And I realized that learning these high-income skills with this learning curve can be daunting, and it can feel stressful at times. So if you are someone who finds making marketing material hard or challenging, don't worry. We found a way where you can enjoy the marketing by knowing that there's an agent for that. And what do I mean by that is, just like when Apple came out with the iPhone and Steve Jobs was like, you want to listen to music? There's an app for that. If you want to calculate time, there's an app for that. And just like on our phones, we have apps for everything. Well, AI is getting so good that it's able to help us to solve a lot of different problems. And I found with our clients, as we've helped them to practice and learn how to use AI for enhancing their message, then I realized that rather than taking the learning curve of that, let me put together a software, an AI studio, that is able to create these agents, these very specialized AI tools that are specifically designed to help you to monetize your health knowledge online. So we've got selling agents that will help you to create content that converts. We have copywriting agents that will help you to make emails to be able to send your message, or social media posts, or we have copywriting agents that helps you with the written word. We even have public speaking agents that will help you to design slides, that help you to brainstorm or generate based on the frameworks that we've been teaching this whole week. They're baked into some of the most effective marketing frameworks that are working today, using AI to help you to implement this. Where a lot of courses or coaching programs that teach you a concept, and then you're on your own to try to figure out how to apply it to your life. And if you've got a nice one, you might have a work guide that will implement and help, an implementation guide that will help you to put it into practice, but you still got to answer the questions, come up with that stuff. What I've found that has been so much better for our clients is, instead of giving you a worksheet that gives you a lot more work to do, we give you an agent that you learn a training, learn a concept, then you have an agent to have an easy button where you could push the button, answer a few questions, push a button, and then it'll actually tailor the advice and frameworks to fit your message, your audience, your background. And the more that you speak to it, the better it understands your business, your methodology, your stories that you have to share. So it's very specially trained for helping holistic health educators to know the industry, to know the marketing frameworks, to make it easier to create the content for you. So we've got digital marketing agents, we have AI automation agents, and we have even show you how you can use AI coach to either assist your clients, or help you to coach through certain challenges that you didn't even realize were possible. One client of ours, her name is Tiffany. She's a homeschooling mother. She's a teacher. She's an author. She's an ADHD coach. And one of her biggest challenges was when she came to us was, how do I create content that's actually going to bring clients? And just trying to figure out, what does that look like? I don't know what to say. I've been attending podcasts, listening to events and challenges. I've been going different places, but it's hard to just piece it together. I want a program that's actually profitable. And knowing what do I say, what do I post about in content so that it's actually worth the energy that I'm putting into it. And so she was one of the people who got early access to our AI studio, and she said that she was able to plan out her entire content calendar for the whole week in minutes. And for the first time, her content on social media was following our system, was able to get higher paying clients. And she was able to fill her programs or with new clients using the help of AI Studio and Skills Unlimited. And Sherry is another person who, she helps people with fibromyalgia, and she built her entire presentation for fibromyalgia in one session, where some people, it takes half a day to put together a good talk, but she was able to use the tools in there, and she was like, this is mind-blowing how much simpler, easier this is. And it's not just you just use what AI says. AI gives you a rough draft, but it's your experience, your background, your story, your personality that you're able to modify, and it just helps you to brainstorm. A lot of the heavy lifting is done for you so that you don't have to exhaust yourself trying to start from scratch. And this really solves like the blank page syndrome, where we don't know, like the writer's block, where we're not sure what to create. And so she was able to do that. So not only in this offer do you get Skills Unlimited program, that's the education, you also get Skills Unlimited AI Studio. And if you were to pay for copywriters, marketers, or people to do this for you, it would easily add up to thousands of dollars per project. But you're going to get access to the AI Studio for the entire year in Skills Unlimited. And that's a $5,000 value easily for projects start adding up like that. So the total value we're looking at is $5,994. But I wanted to think, my team and I were always looking for ways to make your life easier and to solve more problems. And I thought, what else do you need? So you've got the education, you got the AI studios to help you implement the education. What else do you need that would make your life easier? Let's say live coaching, because if you get stuck, if any part you're uncertain or not sure how to move forward, we're going to provide you live coaching that you can get your questions answered. So you will, on Skills Unlimited, you will get access to the VIP sessions, not only for you, but even others if you'd like to invite people. But you'll be able to get questions answered. You can ask me anything that you'd like. For our accelerators, the level of support is much higher. We get together and we have a group chat that we can speak to with you, me, and my assistant. And she makes sure that I actually see the messages because I get a lot of them throughout the week. But we'll prioritize our chats together. We have a weekly call that we're able to get on, and you can get your questions answered. And we also do workshops that people have reported they got more done in those workshops than they have in the last 3 years. So they're based on implementation, where most trainings you leave with a big to-do list. These workshops you leave with a big done list. You leave with actual income producing assets that you have that we walk you through the process. And that's how a lot of our clients have found that the workshops have been some of their favorite parts. Doreen is an example. She's a speaker, she's a vegan chef and herbalist, and we helped her to publish her cookbook and become a best-selling author. And she was saying, I'm an author now. Thank you, Enoch. I really appreciate your time, your expertise. I couldn't have done it without you and your team guiding me through this. I truly believe it was God's divine purpose. And it's really nice when we're praying for people who are praying for these solutions. And I know that there's people out there who are also going to believe it was God's divine purpose. In fact, Reginae just this week, when she signed up that $3,000 client, her client was thanking her for creating this program. She's like, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this program and putting this together. She was so excited. And Reginae was like, wow, I've never been thanked so wholeheartedly after someone paid me $3,000. And it's really a special thing because you'll find that there's people who are literally praying for your health solution in your program. They just don't know it exists, and they'll gladly pay you for your mentorship program. So these, if you look at the VIP tickets, if you were to buy them for you and your guests each year, that would be about $2,328. So you're going to get that as a free bonus when you join either Skills Unlimited or the Accelerator program. So the total value is $8,322. But I didn't want to just stop there. I wanted to think, okay, what else could I give that would ensure your success? How could I eliminate every obstacle and prevent anything that would hold you back from being able to succeed with our program? And I know that one of the foundations that each person needs, and this is like a make or break of the business, is having an offer. It all basically stems about what offer are you going to package and put together. So I've created Offer Creation Secrets. And in this offer, this is our process that we'll walk through with you to know exactly what to put in your program. And in our accelerator, we actually work with you. We'll get on a call and we will map out together how to structure your offer, what things to improve or what not to. We'll be able to audit your offer to make sure that you're following some of the best practices that make sense for your life, that makes sense for your background, your past. It's not just a one-size-fits-all thing. You got to fit into this specific mold, but we're actually coaching you through and guiding you. Where are your life goals? What is your area of expertise? What is your past experience? What is the ideal lifestyle you want to live? And these are things that we factor in to see, okay, out of our depth of knowledge, what are the elements that will help you to be able to make an offer that is both valuable and would sustain the lifestyle that you're looking for? And that's something that we believe very highly in. And something I learned from Russell Brunson, who's one of our mentors, is that we were on a coaching call and someone described this offer that required a whole lot of time to fulfill. And Russell was like, it's like, can I ask you a question? He said, sure. If 1,000 new clients decided to join your program, could you handle it? And he got bug-eyed. He's like, no, there's no way I can do that. So what we want to do is you want to structure your offer in a way that you could be prepared if 1,000 new clients decided to join. And there are ways that you're able to structure your premium offer to do that, where it's not just maxing out your calendar. And what we have to learn to do is stop trying to sell our time and start selling the results and making it in a way that sets people up with higher success. And that's one thing that we're going to do is we're going to speak to you and we're going to see that there might be elements that you're going to want to work with people in different ways, but how can you structure your offer so it's highly valuable and also highly scalable? So together you're able to at least choose your time and your freedom of who you're going to work with, how you're going to work with them. But how many of you would like to be prepared to receive 1,000 new clients in a day? Maybe they're signing up with a course or you're coaching or even buying books. This is where product-based businesses are way more scalable than the service-based businesses, where most of your offer is based on you doing for them. And Melanie is a prime example. She's a client of ours who attended, and she helps people with like a vocal wellness coach. She teaches people about the sounds of her voice and holistically how it affects every part of their body and their life. And she was telling me when we were talking about this group coaching program, she's like, I can't teach what I do in a group. And I told her, of course you can. Look at Roger Love. He has he calls them interventions. And Roger Love is a world-renowned voice coach, and he teaches people about how to use your sounds when you're speaking. I've heard him in person. We've joined his events at least twice with my team. And he teaches people how to do that. He's got a $15,000 offer, and at these live events, he's like, who here hates their voice? Who doesn't like the way that they sound? People raise their hand, and then he goes over them and he teaches them if they speak really nasally, he tells them how to like drop their jaw or how to speak with more edge in their voice, or he just shows them how to use their instruments in a different way to make the sounds they desire. And That's a group setting. And in that group setting, he tells stories and lies, or like he overcomes the lies we believe about our voice that my team has been tremendously blessed for. And once you begin to realize, wait a second, a lot of times we think that what we do has to be done one-on-one. A lot of times it's not necessarily true. There are ways that we're able to do it in a group. There's ways we could record it with their permission and they'd be fully happy and excited to do that. And you can do it with building an asset in mind that's able to expand your influence and your impact for people. So we were able to craft her first $15,000 offer. She's able to get her first yes. And she now travels the world using the story selling secrets that she learned in her speaker training, speaking at places like Bali and Dominican Republic, and doing for like talks for South by Southwest and at these different retreats. And she uses them each time that she travels. And this is something that it's really exciting to be able to see people empowered to get their message out to others. So the next thing that we're going to include in this offer is you're going to get offer creation secrets. This is a $3,000 value, and I think that's pretty low on the low end, because if you think about it, the ultimate goal of this program is to help you to craft an offer that you can make at least $3,000 for. So if we're going to help you to get your first $3,000 offer and then beyond or more, then the same skills that you do to make one, you're able to get a second, third, fourth, fifth, and then 3 a week, and 3 a month, and then you've got a 6-figure business, then it's at least worth $3,000, right? So you're going to get that absolutely free in the program when you join either the Skills Unlimited program or the Accelerator. And so total value we're looking at is $10,000. And granted, this isn't the price of Skills Unlimited. I just want to show you the value that you're going to get so that you could understand if you were to get these individually, if you were going to go somewhere else for it, this is what this would cost. And in fact, I've had our clients who pay me $10,000, and even like Dr. Kendra Lee, she's told me on a call, she's like, look, I never once questioned, why did I pay Enoch that $10,000 for that program? Looking back at everything that you've helped me with, I can see that was $10,000 well spent. Because this is how entrepreneurs think differently. They're not just thinking, she was in a place where she was running her business from savings. And her savings was dwindling, her business wasn't growing, and she's just like, many people will think, well, I can't afford to get marketing help. I can't afford to get the help. But she realized, I can't afford not to. If I don't fix this, I'm gonna have to shut down my doors, and I can't afford to shut down my doors. So she was willing to cut a check for clarity, cut a check for speed. And by doing that, she's learned the skills to make far more than that. And it's not just a return on investment. Think about the lifetime return on investment by learning the skills of understanding what is value, how to craft an offer people like to pay, how to speak from stage so that every time you open your mouth, the more they listen to you, the more that they want to pay you. Like, this is a skill in a lifetime that has a compounding effect. No matter what you do or how you go forward or what you're teaching, these skills will never lose its value, and they don't go out of date because they're based on these principles. So in this process, I think about, okay, so what else do you need? What else will help you? You've got an offer. Now what's the next step? Now we're going to create a signature speech to share that offer, which is our clients have paid us $10,000 for that signature speech program to walk them through that process, but you're going to get that for free as well. So the total value we're looking at is $20,000 that you're going to get the signature speech on demand that has a training for you. But now you have the offer, now you have a speech. What's the next step that you're going to need? And it's platform promotion secrets, learning how can I get my speech before other people's audiences? How do I engage people or get booked to speak? So that's why we're going to give you our exact system on how to book yourself on other people's platforms, leveraging other people's audiences. And people often ask, like, how do I share my message with others? So here's 8 profitable platforms that you could share your message on. And it actually spells the word platform, and we go into more detail about these. So quickly, just an overview, there's P for podcasts, there's live videos you could do, your live videos, other people's live videos. We've had clients get generate new sales from going live on other people's platforms. There's articles that you can publish on that have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of weekly listeners. There's TED Talks that you can share your health message to. There's free events, which we showed that when you begin with the back end in mind, you can make free events to be very profitable. There's online webinars that people teach. There's retreats, there's workshops that are being hosted. Sometimes if you like to travel or go on vacation, you can have your speaking pay for your vacation and travels. Like Ray Janae has her daughter and herself going over, and they've got extra time at this women's events, and it could be a family outing together. And there's also members areas and masterminds where people come together. There's premium buyers in a room who are some of the best people to sell to. So there's these 8 profitable platforms. We're going to show you how to tap into those, figure out which ones make the most sense for you, which ones fit the lifestyle you want. Some people want to travel and explore the world. We could show you how to go that route. Some people want to do it from the comforts of their home. They like being in the country, and just as long as they have a Wi-Fi connection, they're able to speak and get paid several $1,000s or make some sales just by spending a half an hour on a Zoom call, and then the rest of the day they're with their family. Like, it just depends on what your lifestyle is, and we help you to figure out what that will look like in moving into your speaking career. And so that Platform Promotion Secrets is worth at least $997. And to be honest, if this is a skill that you're able to learn how to make $10,000 from a single speech because you made 3 sales, then I mean, it's at least worth $997. So total value we're looking at is $21,316. And what we have, even if we just gave that, this would be a really good offer. This would be a good program. But I didn't want to stop there. I want to think, what else would guarantee your results? What would help you to simplify the path the easiest? And I realized that once you're speaking on other people's stages, people are going to reach out to you. They're going to want to work with you. What are you going to say? What do you tell them over the phone? What do you not avoid? What do you avoid, and what do you lean into? So we're going to give you phone selling secrets. It's a workshop that we did to walk you through exactly what to say over the call. In there, we have a training that's how to get your first or next client within the next 24 to 48 hours. And it helps you to understand, where do you get some of those first clients? How do you speak to them over the phone? How do you structure in a way that people are able to see if they're a good fit for you or if you're a good fit for them? Set proper expectations up front. And this phone selling secrets, our clients paid us $10,000 to access. Before, no one's been able to access that. And for the first time ever, we are making it available in Skills Unlimited and in the accelerator. You're going to be able to not only have the training, but we can audit your calls. We can give you feedback. We'll be able to speak about what thing went well, what didn't, and we're able to help you to implement and develop and coach you through the process. Because sometimes we hear something, then we do it, and we're like, oh, well, that was a little different. But then having that coaching feedback is where people get some of the best value through the process. So total value we're looking at is $31,316. So that's where everything is together. But I know also that a lot of times we're a product of our own environments, that we are influenced by the environments that we put ourselves in. So I think, well, what else could I give you that could ensure your success? What else could I make it easier, more enjoyable, where you can expand the resources you have to your success? And that's why we're going to include a community of health educators who are like you, who are going on a similar journey, who are here to support and aid and support you in that direction. And I believe having the right community is priceless, because when you're surrounded by people who have an outdated way of thinking or an outdated, ineffective methods, and that's all that they teach and preach and share, then it can be discouraging to know where to go forward or have that courage to move forward. When you see all the stories of people succeeding around you, it becomes pretty exciting. So the total value we're looking at is over $31,000, but you are, but we're not going to charge $31,000. This is just helping you to see what the value is when we are putting that together and what you get access to. So just a recap, it's one offer, but there's 2 levels of support. In Skills Unlimited, this is very much do it yourself. It's like a Netflix for health marketing. and you get monthly live coaching, and you also get community access to other Skills Unlimited students. You also get a VIP challenge tickets for you and a friend, which, by the way, if you want to invite someone else to come, and if you invite them to our challenge, then and they decide to be a client, then we'd be happy to share with you like a 10% finder's fee to just say thank you for sending a referral or recommending someone to come our way. So that's something. We'll give you tickets that you can invite other people, VIP guests. As a business accelerator student, this is where it's now done with you. We'll walk alongside you, go step by step, show you what to do. And a lot of the stuff we'll do for you in our workshops or in some of our AI studio. You also get everything in the Skills Unlimited program, along with weekly coaching. You get Voxer access to me. My phone doesn't make any sounds whatsoever. There's no calls, there's no dings or rings, or there's no sounds. No notifications except for Voxer. Voxer is like a walkie-talkie. You could do a voice message and we can hear each other. It will make sounds and I'll hear it, and I'll be able to see when you're asking questions and what you'd like help with. You not only get access to me, but even my team of strategists, because in all honesty, to build a business, it's not just myself who's done each thing. There's different team members who have highly specialized knowledge in the thing that they do as part of the business. And you'll get access to my team as well to help answer your questions and solve problems and actually build with you, sometimes sharing their screen and walking you through and actually building it together to really simplify the process. And you also get implementation workshops for you and a guest that you could go through, and we could build out your signature speech together. So if you're ready to take your business to the next level, then just text the number on the screen, 424-243-6624. Text the word accelerator if you'd like to join, or you can visit mentormeenoch.com. At mentormeenoch.com, it's going to take you to a page that you can see my availabilities. We can get on a call. It will either be a call with me or my assistant, and we'll walk you through and be able to answer any questions that you have about what this could look like, how to get started, what to do. And so you can go to mentormeenoch.com to get access to that. And we can take the next steps, get clarity on what it is. And even if you have any question at all, if you have any questions you'd like to clarify about what this could look like, or timing or wise or any of that, then let's just book a call. Let's get it on the calendar, and we can discuss and see what that conversation could look like. And if you think about it, if all that Skills Unlimited did for you was finally be able to help you to create content that converts, would it be worth $31,000 if you knew how to open your mouth when you create content, whether it's offline or online, that people want to pay you thousands of dollars? Like, would that be worth it? If all that the Skills Unlimited or the Accelerator did for you is help to establish you as an expert in the health field of your choice, that when people think of this health challenge, they think of you, and then they want to send others to you when they hear it in conversation. They're like, oh, you got to talk to this person. Would it be worth it? If all this did for you was help you to get your first or next high-paying health clients, and to be able to start charging $3,000, $5,000, or get some premium clients for the first times before, or at least consistently in a scalable way, then would it be worth the $31,000? And in putting this program together, I had two choices. The first option, I could either go as cheap as possible and give you the bare minimum that you need to succeed, but Jesus said that where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And so the second option, it requires a little higher investment, but in exchange, I and my team can devote more resources to guarantee your success. We can give you the AI studio, we can give you the time, we can give you the focus, the resources to be able to give you an experience of a premium experience to solve these problems. So I had to choose, and let me know in the chat, give a 1 or a 2, which option you would have wanted me to pick. For me, I chose the second option because I want to give you the resources that could help you to succeed the most. And really the question is, you've seen a lot of the success stories. You've seen a lot of the health educators who started right where you are or in a similar place, and they've been able to apply these principles and reach people and grow their practice. But the question is, will you be our next success story? I'm looking for more testimonies, more people. I want to highlight more health educators that are able to specialize in these areas. I want to let people know about you and share your message with people. And I realized that they all started here. It started with a decision. And sometimes it's scary, sometimes it's hard, but they took the courage and they took action. And by doing that, then they started to really open up to new possibilities that they've never experienced before. And that's what's really fun. If you're ready to take that next step, then you can get started now for just $10,000. And in there, you're going to get everything that we spoke about before. Just go to mentormeenoch.com, and you don't have to if you have any questions about it, go to mentormeenoch.com, and we'll walk you through it. That we could discuss what that could look like. And if you were to go to Upwork, for instance, Upwork is a website that allows you to hire freelancers or people to help work with you to do some of these marketing messages. Let's say a copywriter, for instance. Upwork, they will charge you $200 an hour per hour on these different projects for marketing messages, your story, your signature speech, and write these things. You can find people online who have some knowledge, and you don't really know how well they are with that, and let alone if they know holistic health marketing. There's one guy, Jason, he charges $120 an hour, and Joshua, he charges $250 an hour. And that's just for one project. Russell Brunson is paid $25,000 just to write a sales letter on a sales funnel, on a website. And so the prices to get this marketing help is not cheap. And there's a variety of different levels of expertise that you get from that. But you're going to get access to our Skills Unlimited copywriter, which is specifically designed for holistic health educators, and you're going to get the coaching and the support access to walk you through the steps. Christopher, he's a student of ours before. He spends big money on some big name coaches, and he was kind of lost in the crowd. He was struggling to get some of his clients online, and he wasn't really getting the support that he needed until he joined our program and he attended our implementation workshop. He got some of his first paying clients online, and he said that giving Enoch $10,000 for Accelerator was the best $10,000 that he's ever spent before. And when you look at the program, now that you see what it is, you have two choices. You could either do the first option, which is do nothing and not take this leap of faith, which is 100% risk-free. Or the second option is to get Skills Unlimited program now, and with the small investment today compared to the value in return, you can start, let's hit the ground running. And if you're ready, just go to mentormeenoch.com and let's book a call. In fact, you don't even necessarily have to wait for this to finish. You can just open another tab, go to mentormeenoch.com, pick a time that's going to work, and then we can have this conversation. My guarantee for you is that 100% of what I teach works for 100% of the people who do 100% of the work. And if you make yourself coachable and available, then we will help you. Our goal is to help you to get to 6 figures, or we'll work with you until you do. So we know that we can't guarantee that you're going to make any financial amount because we can't guarantee what you're going to do. But we know that you have to be coachable, meaning that you have to be willing or teachable to apply something new, because the same thing that got us here is not necessarily going to get us there. And a good mentor is going to give us counterintuitive advice, because if it already made sense, we'd already be doing it. And we have to be coachable enough that we're willing to apply some of the principles. And available, meaning that we actually show up, because if you don't show up for the training, then you're not going to actually be able to get the advice or guidance. So those two things, as long as you're coachable and you're available, I know that we're confident in our history, our track record, and also our experience to be able to help you. And our goal is to help you to get to 6 figures. And we're not just going to take, like for the accelerator, we're not just taking your money and leaving. We're there to work with you. And what we're going to do for some of these early clients too is that this isn't something that's like in a year, you're on your own sport, you're kicked out, whatever. We know that our program is designed so that you can go through this process in the first few months to get the signature, to get the offer, signature speech, start getting booked on stages, and get some of your early clients. But in this process of building out this wheel of wealth, there's going to be times where you're uncertain how to navigate a speaking engagement, or how to handle this sales conversation, or what opportunity with a strategic partner, how to craft it for a win-win on each part, how to maximize your partnerships. So there's different questions that come up along the way, and we're going to provide this office hours, or we're going to provide the coaching to help you to get unstuck if any of that happens. So that's our guarantee for you, because we have a philosophy that if we can't help you, we don't want your money. We're not here to just take money and run and take off. We're here to support you to get your message out and to link arms together. If you're committed to your message and your mission, then we want to help support you with the resources that we have. So the real question here is it worth even just a few minutes of your time to check this out, which even if it does half of what I've claimed today that it will do in this training, it will pay for itself as soon as you get your first 4 clients. Because you look at 4 clients at $3,000, that's $12,000, and you've already got your initial investments recovered. So if you believe that you're able to help to get some of those first clients, then go to mentormeenoch.com. Or if you think that it would be easier to get your first clients with guidance than without, then let's schedule a time that we could speak together. And just a recap of everything that's inside, and then we'll start signing off, is when you join the accelerator, what it comes with, you get the Skills Unlimited program, which is like the Netflix for entrepreneurship. That's $2,000 that our clients pay for Skills Unlimited. You also get the Skills Unlimited AI Studio, which if you were to go to Upwork and other places, it'd be well over $5,000 for. You're going to get 2 VIP tickets to the High Income Health Expert Challenge. In the accelerator, you also get our workshops and more VIP tickets. You also get offer creation secrets. We will work with you to craft your irresistible offer, and we're going to help you to craft a signature speech. This one message that you will use that will be the foundation of all the times that you communicate with the public. And then we're going to help you with platform promotion secrets to know where to get your message to the right audience so that you're able to attract them and fill your programs. We're also going to give you phone selling secrets that our clients have previously paid $10,000 for. You're going to get that for free when you sign up for either the Skills Unlimited or the accelerator, and that will help guide you through actually how to close 5-figure deals over the phone, how to handle those consultations so that you're able to address what's necessary for people to make informed decisions. And then also you're going to get the community of health educators who are on a similar journey with you and are ready to encourage you and support you, and you learn from their experience. And it's cool because you not only get me and my team, you get other students and colleagues who are learning and exploring what's working now for them through different offers and examples. And there's a lot of insights you can gain from that. So total value is $31,000. And so if you're ready to get started, you can get started today with just $10,000 for our program, and we'll be able to walk you through beyond this. This isn't the last day. We still have day 5 of the challenge. Day 5, we're going to talk about 8 biggest mistakes that a lot of health educators make that really hurts them, keeps them stuck at $10,000 a month, and how to overcome that, whether you want to make your first $10,000 a month or you want to grow beyond that. We're going to be covering that tomorrow, and it's really like it's a step-by-step plan that as you're moving on from the challenge, this is the overview of what that's going to look like to help equip you through this challenge. We're going to end it with a bang. So that starts at 10:30. We have the VIP session at 10:32, and then the live stream at 11:30. And if you have any questions, just go ahead, go to mentormeenoch.com. Let's get it on the calendar and speak together. I look forward to seeing you there. So we will see you tomorrow. This is officially the end. You got to the day 4. I know this was a little longer. This will be the longest one. Tomorrow will be a lot shorter, but we look forward to seeing you. And until next time, remember, God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. Have a great day, and God bless.